Hi everyone, my name is Fredrik Ekström and I am editor-at-large at Scandinavian Mind. I have written the report The New Sustainable Consumer and Her Search for Truth. When sustainability, purpose and trust are growing demands of the consumer, then also understanding the new sustainable consumer, her attitudes, behaviors and triggers to do or do not incorporate sustainability issues into her consumption pattern is also a growing concern. Our purpose with researching the new sustainable consumer is to create a better understanding for why and how the consumer do or do not incorporate sustainability issues into their consumption behavior. We want to see how this is transforming during the crisis and what will stick when we're entering the phase of the next normal. We have researched a large amount of existing reports. We haven't conducted any own consumer reports at this stage. We have made a lot of interviews and conversations with industry experts to verify our hypothesis about the transformation of the consumer. We ended up with a model that we call the Sustainable Consumer Readiness Curve. It's a curve that we segmented the consumer into different stages of adopting to sustainability issues. What values that drives and what message that triggers in the different stages. But first, we live in a troubled world. We have a roaring pandemic going around the world, changing how we live, how we commute, how we work, how we engage with our families and friends, and how we consume. We have presidents and governments talking bad about institutions, spreading disinformation and undermining our trust to the institutions in society. This brings on a feeling of uncertainty for the consumer. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happening. They don't know who's gonna take care of them. And they feel that the world is upside down. They don't know what will be next. How will we evolve from this? So this transforming the consumers into making new ways of engaging with brands and friends and families and work. And we can see that in the gaping void exposed by the fracturing of trust in institutions, brands perhaps have never had more responsibility and opportunity. And with this means that brands has a great opportunity right now to be part of the consumer transformation and transform the world into how we want it to be. Because as the consumer losing trust in institutions, they're turning to brands that are closer to them and engage with them and try to see how can we create the society that we want to have. The best thing to come out of this very painful time is that we as individuals understand that our individual actions have societal consequences. So while the virus itself is not directly related to sustainability, it's going to increase the focus on it. So we can see that the consumers are turning to brands, distrusting institutions, getting scared about the pandemics, and increasing focus on sustainability. 67% actually states that they think that brands that invest in long-term sustainable and fair solutions will build back better after the crisis. It means that they will support those brands, they want to engage with those brands, and 57% states that they have already made significant changes in their lifestyle to lessen their own environmental impact. So the consumers are starting to act on this. When asking the younger generation, 48% states that they think that the economy is getting worse. They think that it's the beginning of something that is more bad than what we see today. When we ask them to state what they are scared about, the coronavirus came second after the environment. So the environment is their number one cause for concern, and 48% thinks that the economy is getting worse. 9 out of 10 of the Gen Zs also states that they want brands to state their beliefs on environmental and social issues in a transparent way so they can know what they're doing, see their purpose of the brand in those matters. And it takes us to the next stage where we can see a growing demand from the consumer that they want brands to show their real purpose. For a long time, a lot of brands have has growth as a purpose. And now a lot of the consumers, they want to know, but what's your purpose for being here right now? How are you going to fix the why? You have stated why sustainability is important for a long time, but now how are you going to fix this? How are you going to create more value to the society? And what's your purpose for engaging with me? What's your value system? As a brand with a clear purpose, we believe that it's important to take a stand and help drive change with problems facing our planet. Climate activism is here to stay, and it's based on values that we find important to support, says Johan Graffner, founder of the sustainable casual brand Dedicated. And he brings up a point that a part of purposeful branding is also to take action, to take part of the consumer's activism in an active way, to see what do you want to support and how you want to support this. It's the companies that have genuinely spent money to make the purpose mean something that will stand out in the consumer world in the future, Ryan Patel states. And we can see that this is something that is going all around you. The purpose is not something that you can add to your marketing mix. You have to invest in it to build it, let the enthusiasm and passion shine through in everything you do, or from the product to your organization, employees, sales teams, products, and how you communicate it. And that's the strongest way to stand out. They're looking beyond tangible products and actually trying to understand what is it that makes the company tick? What's its mission? What's its purpose? And what is it actually trying to build for us as a society? Bo Finneman at McKinsey brings this out from the research they do on the Gen Zs looking for what's happening after the pandemic. And we can see this is, when we look at this, we see it as a way of proving that the consumers are turning to brands rather than institutions. They are turning to brands to say, when the institutions fail, you want my money in the same way as I pay tax to the government. What are you building for the society? How are you taking us to the next level? Why do you want me to engage with you? So this is driving up new responsibilities, but also possibilities for brand, building on their purpose. But it's also a tough road to do because it has to be honest, it has to be true. If you fake it, the consumers will know it. You have to live it and breathe it. So the Gen Zs, they want to see brands tap into activism, absurdity, and aesthetic all in one place. It's not just something you can add on to your brand and be some kind of like purpose washing your brand. You have to live and breathe it and don't be fake. Brands are now experiencing kind of a tsunami wave of sustainability. More and more brands are turning this direction. More and more consumers are demanding it. But when they try to catch this tsunami and ride the wave in front of the others on the other side, it also creates a kind of dissonance for the consumer. They don't know who to trust. They don't know what message is the correct one, because more and strong players are communicating, talking about it. Some is a lot of greenwashing is going on, and it's hard for the consumer to know. It's hard for them to know what's true. So it creates a vertigo. They don't know what is the true way, what is the truth. A quote that was relevant many years ago are relevant again today, but in a new with a new perspective. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. It's a Lenin quote from the wars, and it brings the same kind of perspective and relevance to today's consumer world of sustainability. All of a sudden, everyone is doing it or trying to get a piece of it, because they either are driven by passion or driven by consumer demand. Zalando is doing a great job in the transformation. They see sustainability as being as important as ever, and that the pandemic has driven them to take faster steps in this transformation. But they also see that it's a 35% increase in conversion rate if they label a product a better sustainable choice. So they want to transform. They see this as a business case, transforming the platform into more sustainable, ethical, and fair choices for the consumer. They see that sustainability is necessary for success. Sustainability was once a department with some people in it who said, this is what you should do. Sustainability is now central to our thinking and our ambition. And I would go as far to say that sustainability is our business plan and the managing director at Selfridges. And if you look at Selfridges now, they've been taking huge steps the last 6 months in transforming Selfridges and communicating it and bringing it out with a sustainability mindset in everything they do. All from buying to communicating and arranging. After the crisis, however, the time will come to rebuild. This moment of recovery will be an opportunity to rethink our industry. And if not overnight, build a new model of value and growth. And this is where I see our sustainability strategy and vision being more important than ever. Anna, the head of sustainability at H&M. So we can see that a lot of brands are turning this way. A lot of consumers are asking for it and demanding it. We also see that a lot of the consumers are going online. And during the crisis, one of the good things that happened to us as a society is that we've been forced to take huge digitization steps. We had to mature in our digital journey, what might have been taking 6 years, 10 years, something like that. We made it in a couple of months. We learned the video conference calls. We learned a lot of e-commerce buying. We found new ways of engaging with brands. And when we're looking at this, what this means is that a lot of the consumers are finding new ways to engage with brands. They find new platforms to get inspired and find information, engaging with brands, with the brand stories, and evaluating them in what they do, why they do it, and how they perform. So it's something that drives the consumer to new patterns. But we call that the Great Migration. We can see that when consumers are going online and finding these new platforms and channels to engage with brands and stores, they also start to break up habitual patterns. all of a sudden they're evaluating the store next door and can find a new store or retailer in Barcelona, Madrid, Tokyo, New York, that they before hadn't had time or energy to evaluate because they had their favorite store next door. So now they're going online and emigrating from the before loyal brands and stores. We see that 75% of the US consumers state that they have ventured off and tried new stores and brands during this time. 3 out of 4 consumers have tried new stores and brands. 60% of these consumers state that they are happy and want to stay with some of these stores and brands. So it's a huge emigration. It's a huge swingers party going on where the consumers are turning away from their loyal brands that they have, finding new brands online, start to engage with them and learn about them and find a new consumption pattern. But there's one thing that stands out when the consumers get asked about loyalty during this time, is that 70% of the UK and German consumers state that for them to stay with a brand, it's trust and community. So we see 3 out of 4 consumers trying new stores and brands. 60% wants to continue go to the new stores and brands that they tried. But when asked what are keeping them loyal during this time, 70% states that trust and community with a brand is what makes them stick. So to understand this in a new, to get a better understanding for the new sustainable consumer and how she acts, if she do or do not incorporate sustainability issues into her consumption patterns and how she looks at it, we came down to something that we call the Sustainable Consumer Readiness Curve. It's 5 stages of sustainability adaptation and how the consumers mature to the different values that drive in the stages and what messages that triggers them. But first I just want to say that why this is important is because all consumers have a different approach to sustainability. And not everyone look at the word in the same way. Not all brands does it either. But specifically for the consumers, a million different interpretations of what sustainability is. And sustainability has come a long way from the old hippie halo aura that used to be around it and transformed into this hip styled tech perspective for some consumers. And these huge transformations means that brands and consumers all have different approaches to it. And it's a way we want this to be a way to have a better understanding of who you're talking to and who you want to talk to in the future. It should be said that companies don't need to copy one another and all try to take the exact same path towards sustainability, since what that actually means will be different for each one. It could be in process, it could be in product, it could be supporting the community you sell to. There are a lot of different ways to make an impact. And I found this quote by Ryan Patel being so good in explaining it or sending a message around it, because it's all about finding the different kind of segments and stages that the consumers are in and know what triggers for the consumers in that part. We made up the model, the Sustainability Readiness Curve, starting with dedicated pioneers on one end that are enthusiastic about change. They feel there is a possibility that we can do. They want long-lasting products. They know that we can do it. They are interested and knowledge about the environment. They are followed by the doers. They are afraid and worried about what's going on in the world. Why is the world such a scary place? We want to see results. We want to know what you are doing and what results it's making to create a better world. The next group, a large group, is what we call eco-swingers. They swing back and forth between organic t-shirts, conventional t-shirts, and trying to build their own image and creating a style through sustainability storytelling. They're really interested, but they feel that they don't know exactly how much their actions actually contribute to a better world. The next large group is the spectators. They are not convinced, but they're searching for a convenient solution. They can be on board if it's convenient and good and fair. They can be off board if it goes over the head and too much hassle. The next group is the sleepers. The sleepers are non-motivated, actively seeking to go against sustainability. We call them the Trumps in the family. The red line you can see visualize how these groups approximately were spread prior to COVID. You could see there was a huge bulk that hanged out as spectators, viewing it from the side, doesn't know exactly where to engage with it, looking for convenient solutions. But we can now see that there's a huge green shift going on. And during the crisis, the shift towards making more environmentally friendly, sustainable or ethical purchases has accelerated. And consumers have made a green leap to adopt into these more sustainable practices. We can see that it's moving, tilting, swinging, what you want to say, from sleepers and spectators and shifting into eco-swingers, doers, and dedicated pioneers. To get an understanding for the group, we start with the dedicated pioneers. You can see that they feel that ethics and sustainability are the real deal. They have great knowledge about the environment. They are enthusiastic about the possibilities they can see for change. They are at the forefront, holistic perspective on globalization, gender equality, and sustainability and health. They believe that the solution is a two-way path. It's both that we need sustaining and being innovative in the same time, which means that more long-lasting traditional craftsmanship products, more innovative technical solutions to lower emissions and carbon monoxide, etc. Products that attract them, stories that attract them would be like the Houdini open source monofleece. Open source, sharing the knowledge, sharing technology, bringing into a better sustainable choice. But it would also be the Lundhags hiking boat, which is the traditional style, never goes out of style or never goes out of fashion. You can mend it and repair it whenever it breaks, if it breaks. It's made to last. Really attractive for this group. They are believers of values that is critical, and they are culturally driven. Their shopping behavior is slower than average, which means that they feel that consumption speed needs to slow down. We can't consume in the same way as we do. That is part of the problem. More long-lasting products is one of the greatest sustainable choices. But they're also turning to new technology, like the new industrial order 3D knitting, where they 3D knit shirts that are made to order in one monomaterial so they can be recycled again. Or for the younger generation, you can see that they invest a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of own resources and emotions into their avatars going online. Why shouldn't they be able, with a sustainable choice, to be their avatar for a day? Daystream Material, which is a conceptual 3D printing brand, they have made so these consumers can 3D print their avatar clothing for a day, wear it, and then compost it. So you're closing the loop, you print it, be that for a day, compost it, and then you can start rebuilding your avatar again. When you want to wear it again, you print it again. Next group we have is the doers. They are afraid and worried about the planet and our society at large. They feel the world is in distress. It is an anxious feeling that something really bad is going to happen. They're worried about the planet and the structural societal problems going on with defunding police, Black Lives Matter. There's too many proofs that the world is in distress right now. It's a scary world and we need to do something. We need to see results. We want brands to take a more active role, both in environmental and societal issues, activism. They are usually more connected to brands than institutions. So they turn to brands and ask them to take a more active role. A great example for a campaign that attracts the doers is the Asket, the impact receipt. It's a receipt where you can see the exact impact of the product you buy. You can see the energy consumption, the water waste, the emissions around it. You can see the results of what's going on with the environment if I buy this, or when I buy this clothing, which is directly attracted to the doer group. The next product is the Treton X Nigel K-Bond jacket. It's a 3-in-1 jacket. So it's one jacket that you can wear for 3 types of seasons. The outer jacket is made from regenerated nylon from fishing nets and ocean waste that is collected. The inner jacket is made from recycled PET and polyester, making the entire jacket recycled. And since you can wear it for a longer time, a longer period of the year, and it's made in the Nigel K-Bond traditional long-lasting style that doesn't go out of fashion in a season, it also will last longer for the consumer. In the jacket it's stated how much fishing nets is floating around in the oceans, how much are collected for this jacket, what's the result of this, how much do we save in emissions and carbon dioxide going out in the air. So the consumer can see directly the impact of what this jacket is doing, and they can bring this with them and they can feel that they're doing the results. So since results are critical, and also that we say that shopping behavior is in this group active, it's more active than the dedicated pioneers. So, but it is consciously evaluated. They want products to be responsible in various degrees, but it needs to have a clear reason for existence. And another brand that's doing this really good, we think, is Rebook with the Forever Float Ride Grow, where they take the traditional runner sneaker and just changing a lot of the sourcing. They're implementing castor beans, they're getting eucalyptus bark in there, they're getting bloom algae, using natural rubber, and step by step showing we can take this out and instead use this, and rebuilding the construction of the sneaker to make it a better sustainable choice. When we're moving to the next group, the eco-swingers, we see a huge group of consumers. They want to look good in front of others, and they want to show that they are in the know. They want the surrounding, the peers, to know that you know what you're talking about. So they feel sustainability is for real, and they think that it's something that they should take very seriously. But they don't really have time to dig into all the facts. So they're curating the stories and retelling it to the peers as if they were their own story. So they're curators of the story, and they like to engage in communicative storytelling projects. Sometimes they feel that their actions disappear into a black hole. They're not sure that their actions neither doing really good or actually nothing is happening. They feel that they're disappearing in a black hole of collective actions. So they're not sure what's going on. So they rather stick to the different kinds of stories. A great example is the Gantt, the Leftover project, where they're using their archive fabrics and rebuilding limited edition shirts, that none shirt is the same. It's an easy way for the consumer to engage in the project, easy for them to curate the story, getting a little bit more knowledge about it, and turn it into their own. Another example could be the John Sterner, what we call the farm to closet, which is something that's growing around the world more and more. And this is a way where we see how the eco-swingers are engaging in those communicative storytelling projects, where they like the ocean waste, the Leftover project, small and local farmers. And it's a way for them to, even though the projects themselves doesn't solve the entire problem of sustainability, it is a way for the consumer to engage with sustainability issues, sustainability communication, sustainability facts, to learn a little bit, to take it into their own consumption habitual patterns, and start making it their own. Start building the image around it and start to evolve. Symbols and storytelling are critical for the eco-swingers, for them to engage. Another brand where you can see how this is going in is like Sandqvist, the Sandqvist consumer. It's also an eco-swinger consumer, where you see that they are attracted to the story of doing good, but they swing back and forth, and it's not the strongest selling point for them, but it's something that they take for granted that this brand is doing. It's a symbol of where, when you wear this bag, people can see that you actually made the choice of both style and sustainability. The next two groups, I won't dig into those separately so much, but you have the spectators, that we see that they search for a convenient solution. They're not actively seeking responsible, ethical, or sustainable solutions. However, they also don't actively seeking to not use it. They feel that they could be on board if you can show them a good reason why, a good excuse for getting on board. That would be a convenient solution for them to join the train. The sleepers, however, they are actively non-motivated. They feel that the whole topic of sustainability is something that goes over their head. It doesn't speak to them. It doesn't engage with them. It's something that they feel that they don't know who to believe. There's so much fake news, so much fake communication, so much distrust going on out there. So why would this be true? So they rather don't engage at all. So to get a sleeper to engage, it has to be like a price point or something that goes in. A quick summary of the different groups is that you see the dedicated pioneers. We see the shift is moving towards the dedicated, the doers, and the eco-swingers. And you can see that within these groups, the values a little bit are changing. So you can see that in the dedicated pioneers, they're getting more value driven, getting more critical to boost this with values, getting more into a two-way path of being sustained and innovative, using long-lasting and new tech. With the doers, you can see that the results are really, really critical. They want to see that you engaging in activism and in projects where you can guarantee results, where you can show how you want to fix the problem. What are you actually doing? For the eco-swingers, the huge group, you see that the storytelling projects are growing attraction in the group. They want to engage in fun, communicative, sustainability marketing projects. They think it's funny. They think it's a way for them to build their own image, to build their own brand. And they don't see that building their own image and helping with sustainability, it's a contradiction. They see that they go hand in hand. It should be stylish to wear sustainable clothing. And then to win the spectators, the group we want to swing over to the other side. They are looking for this convenient solution. They want to have the easy hang tags, the same price point, finding sustainable choices among the other choices so they can easily make the right decision. And the sleepers, the last, it's only the price. I won't get into this group so much. The great thing is that we see that the curve is shifting. We see the green shift moving. So we see it's increasing with the dedicated pioneers, the doers, the swingers. We see a decreasing of spectators and sleepers. And some last words to take with you, and four key takeaways that I want to bring on from this is that know who you speak to and why. It's important to understand that sustainability means different things for every person you meet. You can try to segment it with the sustainable consumer readiness curve, but you need to know who you speak to and why, so you can create your products, your organization, and your communication to directing them in a correct way. And you also have to look at who do you have today, who do you want to have tomorrow, and who are you actually okay with to have. Maybe you have only sleepers and spectators today. Are you happy with that? Maybe not. Maybe you only have dedicated pioneers today. Why don't do a project on the side for the eco-swingers as well? You can start elaborating with this by knowing who you're directing your projects to. The next thing, purpose. You have to invest in your purpose, but you have to be aware of purpose washing. It has to be true. Otherwise, the consumer will immediately spot that you're fake, and they will let you know it, and it will backfire. But if you invest in your purpose, you invest in building back to the society, and you invest in engaging with the consumer with the same values that the consumer wants you to engage in, you will start building a new strong loyalty base, and you can interact with the consumer for the long run. Trust. The consumer wants to trust the brands. Why? They always wanted this, but there is a huge difference now when we're looking at it. We see that as they look at brands as the new institutions, to do societal good. They also want to trust your ideology, they want to trust your value system, they want to trust you in how you choose your supply chain, how you act with your employees, and with the society at large. This is a way for them to engage with you and see how you can deal with this demand of hyper transparency. And it all comes down to your ideology and your purpose. If you find your purpose, you show it and you do it in a trustworthy way, and then you can live with being honest around that. The online migration, it's frustrating for a lot of brands, but it's a great opportunity if you know how to handle it. It opens up new doors to a lot of consumers searching for information, searching for new brands and stores to interact with. They want to see if they have the same purpose as them, what are they standing for, and if they can adopt them into their to the new habitual pattern. It opens up a lot of new doors. So with these 4 takeaways, I want to round up today and hope that you found the insights to be helpful. And I am Fredrik Ekström, the editor at large at Scandinavian Mind, focused on sustainability. And please let us know if we can help you with more questions around the report. You find the report on the website, scandinavianmind.com. Thank you.